Going to be board meeting minutes not previously approved, and that would be the minutes of the regular meeting of April 7th, 2026. I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Not hearing any. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. Next item on our agenda is going to be our summary of current events, and we will start with Superintendent Terri Romo.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. I wanted to start by announcing something we're super excited about within our district. Brand Miller, my assistant and board secretary, his wife Jocelyn Miller, welcomed their 7-pound baby boy yesterday. And so we're so excited for them. So we've been getting some of the cutest pictures ever. And also, because I know we have lots going on tonight, I didn't want to take too long, but I did want to tell you about an amazing event that's going to be happening up at Boyna. Beginning of May. We want to encourage everyone to join Boyna Fine Arts for their presentation of Six, the musical, the teen edition. The show is a modified high-energy pop concert featuring Henry, the six wives competing to prove who suffered most, only to realize they should reclaim their stories together. The show is May 1st and 2nd at the Klein Center for the Performing Arts at Boyna. Got to see them perform at the pep rally up at Boyna last week, just at least one of the songs. Absolutely incredible. We have such talented kids. And that show again starts at 7 p.m. and tickets are $7. And we hope you'll come by and choose your favorite queen from the musical Six.
Thank you, Ms. Romo. And now we'll move on to board members. And tonight we'll start with Ms. Robinson. Thank you, Ms. Robinson and Ms. Rochford.
I'm just delighted to see a wonderful turnout.
Thank you, Ms. Rochford and Mr. Conlon.
I am also pleased to see the show and showing us folks here and get on to the show.
All right, thank you. And Ms. Sharp.
Yes, definitely. Thank you everyone for being here, and we're celebrating our staff.
Thank you, and I just appreciate all of you showing up tonight, and I'm looking forward as well to celebrating our staff. And then tomorrow night I will be helping to hand out awards at the Junior ROTC award ceremony. So at this time, that's all I have, and we'll move on to our presentation and awards. And we'll start with our employee recognition certificate.
Good evening, everyone. These are not made for tall people, so I will hold it. So I'm Valerie, and I have the pleasure today of celebrating our longevity employees, celebrating their milestones with us, as well as our retiring employees. Each of these individuals has contributed countless hours, unwavering commitment, and heartfelt care to our students, their colleagues, and this community. Their impact goes far beyond the walls of their classrooms and offices, and they've helped shape futures and strengthen the foundation of this district. On behalf of the governing board, district leadership, and the entire SVUSD community, we thank you for your service, your passion, and your dedication. We also want to give a special thank you to the Education Foundation of Sierra Vista for all of their support, including the setup and decorations for tonight, and they also have gifts that will be provided to our retiring employees. We want to give a shout out to HR. It's a lot of work to put one of these things on, as well as the amazing Boyna Culinary, who created all of the yummies you guys had at the reception. Big round of applause for them. Those kids do amazing, and it's always awesome to represent our kids and have them out here. Tonight we're celebrating a total of 390 combined years of service for 37 staff members. This year we also started a new tradition by asking our longevity honorees what has been their most memorable moment and a fun fact that people might not know. So as I call everyone up, if they gave me one of those, I'll go ahead and read that. So we have 28 staff members who have dedicated their time and energy to our students and are celebrating milestones with the district. I don't need to do the next part because you guys are already here. So I'm going to start with our 10-year employees, and I'm going to have everyone come up. We can celebrate them all together, and yes, you're going to stay up here and take a picture. All right, first up for 10 years is Todd Anderson. His most memorable moment was seeing when students get what you're teaching, that aha moment where they finally understand. And his fun fact is he's a collector of many things. Up next, we have Roz Buchanan. Go, Roz. She said, during my 10-year career with SVUSD, I have proudly served as a dedicated support staff member as our registrar, playing a vital role in creating a welcoming and efficient environment for both students and families. It has been a joy to build strong and lasting relationships with many parents, guardians, and students. I have taken pride in being a reliable point of contact within the school community as I strive to create every interaction as helpful and reassuring experience for families that we serve. They're not, okay. They're still there. Couldn't see them. Up next, we have Alonzo Gamez Gonzalez. He has been a part of our maintenance team for the 10 years. Congratulations. Oh, and he's retiring, so we'll talk about him later. Up next, we have Casey Gainey. We also want to honor Charles Harris and Tara Hyatt. She says, the highlights of my time at SVUSD are the relationships I have built with my students and fellow staff members, putting into practice all I have learned from professional developments and trainings, and witnessing the hard work and growth of the students I have worked with over the past 10 years. And her fun fact is, she and the Pope grew up in the same suburb of Chicago. Two people who could not join us tonight are Angela Leone and Lucy Montano, so congratulations to them. And up next, we have Terry Nitring. One of the most rewarding parts of working for SVUSD was the opportunity to collaborate with some truly exceptional teachers. Among them, Marcia Bozar, thank you, who stood out as someone I deeply admired and learned from. She was not only a mentor to me, but also a dedicated educator who served our district for over 30 years. Through her example, she has taught me the importance of guiding students towards independence and supporting them in achieving their goals. Her fun fact is her middle name, and thank God she didn't give it to me, is 19 letters long, and she did not learn how to spell it correctly until she was 15. Up next, we have Lisa Owens. Lisa is also retiring, so I'll talk about her in a little bit. And up next, we have Patricia Pratz. Patricia said, my highlight in the district has been the opportunity to work with different departments, which has allowed me to enrich myself with a wide variety of experiences and learning. And up next, we have Zachary Townsley. Zach has been a great part of our maintenance department as well. We also have Jacob Weiss. He's a teacher at Buena who could not join us tonight. And up next, we have Catherine Wright. Catherine says, I have developed the ability to grow and apply creatively within the roles I've had, constantly finding new ways to add value and improve student outcomes. And her fun fact is, we graduated from Buena the same year, and then went to ASU together. That was just one I added. She did not put that, that was just me. And then our last 10-year employee could not join us tonight, but it's Linda Wright. All right, so for my 10-year employees, this is when you're all going to get in a group. And Michelle's going to take your picture. And we're going to actually step up a little farther so that the presentation is not like blocking the face. So let's all take about 2 more steps forward. Alonzo's tall and he's got it in his face. We'll make you stay there if there's any family that wants pictures real quick. See one. Okay, you're free. Thank you guys. Congratulations on 10 years. All right, up next we'll have our 15-year employees. And we're going to start with Cynthia Dodge. And it looks like she couldn't make it tonight. Another teacher who couldn't make it tonight is Randy Holler. He is a teacher over at Buena. Oh, he is here. Oh, there he is. Sorry. It says no. I'm going to talk about him in a little while, too, because he's also retiring. Up next, we have Dennis Houston. We also have Miss Daniela Cruz. Sarah Ray. So Sarah says, I have been honored with many opportunities to grow, supported by several people, and build strong relationships. And rounding out our 15-year, we have Mrs. Nicole Young. Nicole says, getting to meet so many amazing students and working with exceptional colleagues. Her fun fact is she comes from a large Italian family, and most of her relatives live in New Jersey. My aunts, uncles, and cousins total over 50 people. All right, here's the painful part. Get together in a big group and smile.
We're a little bit smaller, I think it'll be easier. We can switch it.
And move forward a little bit. We got you. Take steps forward. Congratulations. All right, up next is our 20 years of service. And we're going to start that with Principal Brenda Bland. Brenda says, my work has been an instructional coach and admin at Buena. I truly enjoyed that relationship I built there. And her fun fact is she loves to crochet. Go, Brenda. She goes, wait, what's my fun fact? You filled that out, right? Okay, good. Up next, we have Miss Yolanda Everett. Her most memorable moment is working with great teachers and staff and meeting new people. And her fun fact is she started college for her master's degree at the age of 50. And next up is teacher Danielle Frazier. That's okay. That's okay. She is our current reigning teacher of the year. And as you can see, a proud member of the Wolfpack. And then we also have Vinnie Henkin. She is a teacher over at Buena. And the last one celebrating those 20 years is going to be Luis Moretta. He says, meeting new people and seeing my son at Buena the last 4 years has been memorable. All right, picture time. Keep moving forward. Get in line with Gail. There we go. Okay, stay there. There's still family.
I'm not done yet.
All right. We're hitting a quarter of a century year of service. So celebrating 25 years is Julie DeCure. Julie says, the highlight of my time at SVUSD are all the relationships I built with incredible students, caring families, and remarkable coworkers. And her fun fact is she is a former member of the 36th Army Band and still plays the soprano saxophone. So give it up for, yep, picture time. She's the only one. Stay there, we got family. Awesome. Congratulations, Mrs. Kira. And up next is our 30 years of service, and that goes to Miss Marcia Atunis. Marcia. We're going to talk about her in a second. She's going to take a picture, but I'm not going to let her leave. Okay. Congrats. At this time, we're now going to shift over to our retirees, and I'm going to have the members of the Education Foundation come up and join me as they have certificates and gifts for our retirees. So for our retirees, we have 14 staff members who will be retiring this year. Together, they have served 214 years with the district. We've also kept in our tradition, and we ask them certain questions for their retirement, things like their best memory, favorite tradition, what they hope people will remember about them, what song they feel best describes their career, there's some good ones in here, and what they are most looking forward to in retirement. So we've met her before, but I'm going to have her come back up because she's the first A, and that's Miss Atunis. So you get to stand up there when I read everything that you said. We are proud to celebrate the retirement of Miss Atunis, whose passion for students and dedication to the education has made lasting impacts across our district. She has served as an English language teacher for 30 years at Apache Middle School, Bella Vista, and Carmichael, supporting countless students on their academic journeys and helping them find confidence in their voices. When reflecting on her career, she shares that there are simply too many memories to count. One true testament to a meaningful connection and experiences she has built over the years. If her career had a theme song, it would be Let It Be by the Beatles. She hopes to be remembered for one thing above all else, that she truly cared for the well-being of her students. That care has been felt in her classroom every single day. One of her favorite traditions was performing in the Christmas show along with other teachers, a joyful experience that brought smiles and laughter to students and staff alike, and perfectly captured her spirit and willingness to go above and beyond. As she looks ahead to retirement, she's most excited about continuing to travel around the world and embrace new adventures. Thank you, Ms. Atunis, for your compassion, your dedication, and the difference you have made in the lives of so many students. So now we'll be a big group picture. Michelle, come on. We'll do these one at a time because they're retiring. So yeah, you get another picture with all of these ladies too. Yeah. Awesome. Congratulations. Up next is retiree Regina Beaudry. We are honored to celebrate the retirement of Regina, a compassionate and dedicated school nurse at Huachuca Mountain. Through her 12 years with our district, Regina has been a steady, caring presence for students and staff alike, always ready with support, kindness, and a reassuring smile. When reflecting on her career, Regina shares that there have been countless memories and fun moments over the years. So many, there's a theme here, that it's impossible to choose just one. It's those spontaneous, joy-filled interactions with students that have sustained her throughout her career. One message she has often shared with her students is simple but powerful. Laughter is the best medicine. Her days have been filled with laughter, and it's something she will deeply miss. If her career had a theme song, it would be Lean on Me by Bill Withers, a perfect reflection of support, comfort, and care that she provided to so many. Regina hopes that students and colleagues will remember how much she truly loved and cared about them, and how much she will miss being a part of their lives. One of her favorite traditions has been the Christmas staff show. She especially cherishes magical moments when the lights go out and staff shine flashlights in unison to a beautiful holiday song, creating a sense of wonder that leaves students completely spellbound. As she looks towards retirement, she's excited to embrace new adventures like traveling, hiking, and skiing when the conditions are just right, and spending meaningful time with family and friends. Above all, she looks forward to living with gratitude and appreciating all of life's blessings. Thank you, Regina, for your heart, your laughter, and your incredible care. And hopefully some of that trip will take you to Cape Cod. She and I are Cape Cod buddies.
Yes.
Exactly. All right, she could not join us tonight, but Ms. Janet Klein, she is retiring after 9 years with the district in our business office. So congratulations to Janet. Up next, we have Patricia Facio. She is retiring a second time with an incredible 39 years of service. I know, right? That's amazing. She began her career at PDS, where she served for 31 years before retiring the first time. But her love of students brought her back, continuing her journey at Town and Country and most recently Village Meadows. Over the years, she has taken on a wide range of roles, including resource teacher, first and second grade teacher, special needs preschool teacher, one-on-one aide, autism classroom aide, substitute teacher across preschool through high school, and more recently as our Move Along with Reading para, supporting early literacy and Title I students. Her willingness to step in wherever students need speaks volumes of her commitment. One of Patricia's most favorable memories was teaching 11 autistic students alongside a team of paraprofessionals, an experience she describes as unforgettable and impactful. Now, after decades in education, she's even come full circle supporting the children of former students she once taught in first grade. That's awesome. If her career had a theme song, it would be Getting Stronger Every Day by Chicago. I really wish I had these songs to play right now. Right? She hopes she'll be remembered for her patience, her caring heart, and her unwavering dedication to helping students reach grade level reading. Her impact on literacy and on the lives of students she serves is truly lasting. One of her favorite traditions was celebrating the joy of reading during Read Across America Day, dressing up and bringing books to life for her students in fun and memorable ways. As she looks ahead, she's excited to enjoy time with family, friends, travel with her boyfriend, and finally tackle organizing her home on her own schedule this time. Thank you so much, Ms. Facio, for your dedication, your flexibility, and your heart for students. Your legacy will be continued to be felt for generations to come. Wait, I think we have, are you good? Okay, never mind, we're good. All right, we had a couple who couldn't join us tonight. Graham Fellows is retiring after 6 years with the district, working in our maintenance and custodial department. And also Cynthia Galindo. She is retiring after 19 years, ending her career at PBS. So congratulations to them. And we've heard his name before. We're going to call him back up, Mr. Alonzo Gamez Gonzalez. He's retiring after 10 years of working in our maintenance department. This one we just have to do picture time.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
He's got his stuff.
Yes, he does have his stuff, I think.
Yeah,
So,
I paid it early.
well, that's okay. So we'll just all come up and take a picture. Woo-woo. Another name we've heard tonight is Randy Holler. Come on up. He is a teacher at Buena and retiring after 15 years and also already has his stuff. Yeah, okay. So we're going to...
27 years total.
27 total?
Well, teaching.
Oh, teaching. Awesome. So 27 years total in teaching. That's fantastic. Woot woot. And up next we have Stacy Jackson Fesser. She said she was going to come. No? Yay for Stacy! She retired after 9 years with the district working in our curriculum department. So go Stacy. Also, who could not join us tonight, we have John Cosmiter. He's retired after 2 years with our district and our first safety and security officer. Go John. Lucy Montano, one of our 10-year employees, is also retiring, so congratulations. And I know that she's here, so please welcome Miss Alice McCroy. So Alice has worked for us for 6 years. She is dedicated to our students, families, and colleagues, and we are proud to celebrate her retirement. Throughout her career, she has worn many hats, serving as a substitute teacher, 3rd grade teacher, 6th grade teacher, lead teacher, and after-school tutor, supporting both 3rd and 6th grade students. She began her journey with us at Village Meadows and is now finishing her incredible career at Carmichael, leaving a lasting impact on both schools. Alice's time in education has been filled with meaningful moments and plenty of laughter. One of her most memorable and hilarious memories came during a Secret Santa exchange when she accidentally re-gifted a bag with her own name still on the tag. When the reveal came, a fellow teacher quickly called her out, leading to a moment of laughter that perfectly reflects the joy and camaraderie she brought to her colleagues. If her career had a theme song, it would be Unforgettable by Nat King Cole. As she retires, Alice hopes she'll be remembered by her students for her personality, for her colleagues for her fun and laughter she shared, and by families for her belief that besides the air we breathe, education is the next most important thing. Looking ahead, I love this. Alice is most excited for one simple joy, never having to hit the snooze button. Thank you for your years of service, your heart, and your unwavering commitment to education. You are truly unforgettable. Congratulations. And up next is a name we've heard tonight, Miss Lisa Owens. We are proud to celebrate the remarkable career of Lisa Owens, whose passion for teachers, her passion for students, and dedication to special education and student support have made a lasting impact across the district. She began her journey at Buena High School, and she has served in a wide range of roles, including special education teacher at Buena, Huachuca Mountain, and Village Meadows, 4th grade teacher at Huachuca Mountain, student achievement coach, IPA coordinator, and finally as the assistant director of our Exceptional Student Services Department. Throughout her career, Lisa has been a strong advocate for students, always focused on helping each learner reach their full potential. Her leadership, compassion, and commitment have touched countless lives across multiple campuses. When reflecting on her time in education, Lisa recalls one special moment, and slightly spooky, at Huachuca Mountain, hearing the pitter-patter of a fox living in the crawl space. An unforgettable reminder that school life always comes with surprises. If her career had a theme song, it would be Barbecue by the Animal Liberation Orchestra, reflecting her upbeat spirit and joyful energy. Lisa hopes to be remembered for her strong connection with kids and the relationships she's built throughout the years. One of her favorite traditions was experiencing Buena High School marching band through the hallways. What is that? Storm the halls. Sorry, that just went out of my brain. She described it as a moving and emotional experience that often brought tears to her eyes, an inspiring reminder of school spirit and community. As she looks ahead, Lisa isn't quite ready to fully retire and is excited to continue working with kids in some capacity. Retirement for her is simply the next chapter, not the end of her journey in education. Thank you, Lisa, for your leadership, your heart, and your unwavering commitment to students. Your impact will continue to be felt for years to come. Congratulations. And up next, we have Miss Charlene Steekers. She is retiring after 32 years with the district teaching music and choir. She was one of my teachers. I love that she's so color coordinated today. The leopard Crocs are awesome. Yes, absolutely. I remember first meeting Miss Steegers when Cochise College did a theater performance in the summer. She was always in those shows, and I helped paint sets. So that's when I first met Miss Steegers.
She got my very shy son to rap.
You guys are good. You can go back. We're good. Yeah, we're good. As we wrap up this evening's celebration, we want to take a moment to once again thank each of you for that we've recognized today. So let's give one more big round of applause for everyone. To our retirees, your legacy is one built on compassion, hard work, and heart. You touched countless lives, and we hope the next chapter is filled with adventure, relaxation, and joy. But just in case you find yourself getting a little bored, remember you can always come back as a sub. And to our longevity honorees, thank you for all your continued dedication and for reminding us what it looks like to be committed to students and our community. On behalf of the governing board, the district leadership team, and the entire SVUSD family, congratulations and thank you again. We'll take a short moment, so if you wanted to leave after this, more than welcome can before our next presentation. I'm also going to go adjust the thermostat because I know it's a little warm.
Ready to get this right? Okay, if you're live and just joining us here, it is the Sierra Vista School Board meeting. They'll be having a vote shortly on the closure of the Joyce Clark Middle School, a yay or a nay on that, and then discuss future possible school closings with another elementary school that needs to be closed. And so that will be on the agenda next as well. We apologize for the sound. The sound is not very good here, unfortunately.
At this time, we'll move on to our next presentation, and that will be the next school closure recommendation.
Thank you, Governing Board. I know that this has been a hard time for all of us, for our staff, our families, community, but also for you as Governing Board members. I know that a lot weighs on your head and heart. I did this for me. We talked about how these schools, I touched point with every one of them, whether I attended them, whether my kids attended them, or I taught at them. Every single one is so very special to me, so this is not an easy conversation. We had some meetings. I met with all the Governing Board members and talked with them, and had Ms. Wambach, Crystal Wambach, sitting with me, and she's kind of put together a presentation, sort of kind of our vision and kind of where we're at right now. So I'm going to join her over there, but she's going to lead this presentation.
Feels weird to be stuck to this. Okay. Am I turned on with it? Good evening. So I'm Crystal Wambach. I am the Interim Director of Curriculum. And I just want to do a little bit of background and kind of talk through what our vision is and go a little bit through the process through our consolidation with the recommendation after we had the meetings that we've had through everything that we have had so far. It feels a little strange to be attached to this. I do a lot of presentations in this room, and I'm usually wandering around the room as I do this. I'm feeling a little stuck here. Okay. So a little bit of background of how we've got to this point where we're at. You've heard this through Superintendent Romo talking through these things. Just wanted to quickly put it into a bullet point just as a refresher of how we got to this point of the consolidation. So we have a changing of our enrollment, things like our declining birth rate with fewer students entering our schools, with our enrollment spread across more schooling options, either within our district, outside of our district, different options that are out there. Our funding realities that we have happening, that is our state funding based on our student enrollment. We know it's our behinds that are in our seats, right? That's where our funding comes from. So if we don't have the kids, we don't have the funding, and that is what we have going on. We have underutilized schools, so that means within our school buildings, you've seen those presentations as you've gone through this process and have been at these meetings, watched them online, that we have classrooms that are not fully full. We have some classrooms that have a teacher teaching to class size of about 15, some that have class size of 20. So this is a way that we start looking at how do we utilize our actual classrooms to better capacity. And that makes it so that our resources get spread out across those campuses. So why consolidation helps? It's that better use of our staff, programs, and facilities. It's that stronger academic opportunities for students, and that sustainable use of our district resources. So that is how we have gotten to this point where we're at. So just a recap of all of the other meetings that we've had to this point. Anything to add to that?
No, I think it's very well covered. I mean, we've shared, we are on the Auditor General's one of the top 9 most at risk in the state of Arizona. And so these are issues that have been coming along for a long time, past 10 years. We've lost over 2,000 students in this district.
So when we think about what the vision of our district is, it is really to make sure we're utilizing all of our resources to the best of the ability. We do have some competing things happening right now of whether or not, when we look at our consolidation, there is what we have for the vision and then what the board has asked us to think about. So our vision for our district is to make a stronger, more connected SVUSD. So we do have this idea of this current structure model, and I'll try to talk loud to keep the mic going with me. So we have this 6 elementary schools, 1 middle school, 1 high school. What we have on the table is this idea of 4 neighborhood schools and a high school. And this is all with this idea of that stronger relationships, academic continuity, middle grade support, so that we make sure we have that built into those schools, stronger family connections, and then strengthening our high school pathways. So making sure we keep in mind that we do have a preschool within our school district at one of our elementary schools. The board has asked that we look at this idea of 3 neighborhood schools. So that is what's on this side. So the vision being that we have our elementary schools becoming, with our middle school, neighborhood schools. This is all with that idea of creating that continuity and what it would do for our district to make that stronger connected SVUSD. What happens in these K-8 neighborhood schools? So we have a stronger learning environment, strengthen that middle school experience, and then expand our student supports. So when we're looking at those learning environments, we really want to take a moment to make sure that we have that stable, consistent learning environment all the way through our K-8. Housing it in one building makes it so that we have that connection going all the way through, making sure that our standards are being taught all the way through in that same consistent manner, that we are identifying the needs and making sure that we're keeping track of those needs all the way through. We are able to then expand all of those opportunities that we have for our kids with our STEM electives, our leadership exposure. We can build more positive role models across the board for all of our students. We can make sure that our siblings are attending those same campus all the way from kindergarten to our 8th grade. When we start looking at our middle school experience, this came out of that town hall that we did. We have that smaller, more supportive school environment that happens for those kids. So they have access in a smaller environment to the counseling, and they have more of that hands-on from classroom teachers that they would get in that smaller environment, which has that increased individual attention from your staff. And so they can build those stronger relationships with trusted adults because there is a smaller opportunity in that middle school experience that is built into a K-8. We will maintain a full middle school experience for students with that departmentalized classes, having electives and activities for them. We will see improved student behavior in that school culture. We'll work on that academic progression from the elementary to middle grades. When we think about what happens with standards in middle grades, they are written content specific. There's usually a struggle that happens between 5th and 6th grade with standards. We'll be able to make sure that that's a smoother transition that happens for our students with keeping with the same integrity that goes along with it so that we have a more consistent academic and behavioral expectations for students all the way through that K-8 school. When we look at our student supports, we have increased access to gifted and advanced learning opportunities built into that school system. Stronger, more consistent, exceptional student services built in all the way through that K-8 system. We'll be able to enhance our ELD, our English Language Development, our EL services. More efficient use of our specialists across one campus. When you start combining them, you're able to do that with your specialist and have a greater target student needs with that consistency across that K-8. So that is to make it more connected across the board. That is the same slide. When we start looking at what happens amongst our teachers, we start looking at that stronger PLC that we are very strong with in our campuses. So we have a stronger collaboration. So our teachers are talking across the board to make sure that we are consistent as we're talking academics and standards. Reducing learning gaps between our grade levels because you can have more of a vertical conversation from that K to 8 level. We will have that consistent instruction and expectations happening with that condensed model moving across the board for that K-8, making sure that we have more of a shared responsibility for student success because we're all located within that model. There is less reteaching after transitions because we've eliminated those transitions. And then clear aligned instructional practices that are consistent. So that is what you build within that K-8 model. Anything to add to that?
Not this one, other than just to share education, just like military or other jobs, we like to use acronyms a lot. So PLC, for those of you who are not sure, stands for Professional Learning Communities. It's not a program or a training, it's how our teachers come together to analyze data, determine what is in the best interest of our students to guide their instruction.
Thank you. I get so excited about it that I just talk about it. It's my passion. Thank you. So I wanted to share a little bit about what our current staffing model looks like based on class size of what we currently hire for. So as we start looking across the board of what we have with our current staffing need of what we have. And I realized that there's a mistake on that slide, so I do need to fix it. So when we look at our stronger, more connected SVUSD, this would be the model of moving towards consolidating JCMS and having our 4 neighborhood schools. Working on those stronger relationships, better academic opportunities, smoother transitions, responsible use of resources, and that stronger community schools. And just so you know, I do have the staffing later, so you'll be able to see it all together of what it would look like for each one of the schools. That's why I quickly went through it, because right now you're trying to process it, and I will show it when it looks all of them together. So this would be consolidating into 4 schools. This is what that first option would look like. Mm-hmm.
So right now, we already closed, currently we have 6 elementary schools. The board has already approved to close Bella Vista, and so they have known for some time. The secondary closures are coming from us looking at what our enrollment came from after we did our enrollment period. And so that is how that worked. You'll notice that one of the things that you'll notice is Pueblo del Sol is listed, but currently Village Meadows is not. And I did go and speak to that staff at Village Meadows today. Again, all of our schools are phenomenal. All of our schools have something very special to give to our community. And so the recommendation that I'm adding for the one additional elementary school to combine would be Pueblo del Sol combining with Village Meadows Elementary School. So that is my, if we're going to only close one more school, that would be my recommendation. And there's lots about, we talked a little bit about with Village Meadows, that there's lots of special things about them that we would want to obviously carry over to Pueblo del Sol. The PDS principal came over, the Village Meadows principal was there, and I did tell the staff today. Probably one of the hardest conversations I've had to have through this process, but we did have it, and there'll be lots of questions to answer and all of that, but that is going to be my next proposal.
So the board did ask if we were to close 2 of them, what it would look like with that structure. So this is what that structure would look like. So what I did was look at staffing wise. what it would look like if we were to take the staff with the current numbers that we have for enrollment, because I think that's one of the key things that I personally look at. I'm a math teacher by trade, so I like numbers and data. So I was looking at what would happen with our staff, because that's what we start talking about, is what happens with teachers and what we have for staffing. So that's what I started looking at, is what happens with our staffing with these options. So what is our current model? With our option 1 and our option 2, what happens with our teaching staff? So how many total teachers we have? Now what you'll see as you're starting to look across this is this weird little number that happens in 8th grade of this 10 that happens, and that's because the weirdness we're having with what happens with 8th grade for this upcoming year. And staffing for this upcoming year, because we're keeping 8th grade as that cohort. So needing to have enough teachers plus electives teachers to have them for this year, this upcoming year, whereas the following year would not happen, and you would not need 10 teachers to maintain that.
And I'd like to clarify that this is specifically teachers. This does not take into account support staff, administration, office staff, those sort of things as well. This is just strictly our classroom teachers.
I also want to state down here in this last option, I do not have sites named. So it was not picking sites for what this would be. It would be consolidated sites. And I will tell you what I did was take current enrollment and what it would be to do at capacity for the class of current enrollment for next year. Those numbers we've been working off of, and what class size would be. And it would be how many teachers we would need for that.
And so just wanting to also clarify, we knew that we needed to close at least one more elementary school. I'd heard through our town halls, through emails from staff, please just rip off the Band-Aid, because it's really hard to go through this. It's emotionally draining on our families and on our students and obviously our staff. And so when this discussion was, please just go ahead and tell us what the next one would be. I just had that conversation yesterday, and I am just a huge believer that I will not present the name of a school that I have not talked to the staff at that school. I think that we owe them that respect. So just wanted to let you know that's another reason that we have not stated.
No, that was,
Oh, okay.
that was the last slide.
Okay.
So, that was covering all that I had. Oh, I was just letting Terry know that was my last slide.
Oh, okay. Hold on, there we go.
That's all that was.
So I'd like to thank Ms. Wambach for all of her extra work on that in a very short time period. Not that the work hasn't been going on, but pulling together this particular presentation. We just wanted to go back over with you again. Yes, we made the recommendation for Joyce Clark Middle School to close, and I know that that's the only thing that you are voting on this evening. Obviously, moving forward with whether you want us to close one more elementary or two more elementary is not being voted on this evening. It is something that will be moving forward, and we have to go through the whole town hall process for those schools, so that the community can be able to come to ask their questions, to share their concerns. And then it can't even be on a board agenda until 10 days after that. Again, I've shared with, I think, each board member how very hard this is on our staff. They're worried about whether they'll have jobs or not. Our families want to know where their kids are going to go. And so we have to be able to do this in a timely way to respect how everyone is feeling right now. Because we respect and we care about this community so very much. This is my hometown. I shop at the stores, I run into people at Walmart. And so we just want to do this as quickly as we possibly can and taking into consideration all the factors. We are $5 million in debt, and if we lose more students, we're even more than that. And so we have to start addressing it.
All right, so we'll move on to our next item on the agenda, and that would be our call to the public. And I'll just remind you, as a board, we cannot comment, but we are listening. We've been listening, reading our emails from the public. We do appreciate your input, and much of that we have taken into consideration in the decisions we've been making. And then I'll also remind you we'll have a time limit of 3 minutes, and we have a fair amount of you to get through, so we're going to be pretty hard on the time limit. So at this time, we're going to go ahead and start with Cassie De Piazza.
Good evening. When I applied for Buena High School assistant principal position last year, I disclosed that I did not have my administrative certificate. Nonetheless, I was still encouraged to apply. I was interviewed and I was offered a contract. On Wednesday, March 30th, during the middle of the school day, I was informed by Human Resources that I had exceeded an admittedly undisclosed and unwritten 90-day timeline to obtain the administrative certification. I was suspended without pay and prohibited from any contact with anyone from the district effective immediately until April 11th, and reassigned to an ESS teaching position at Buena. Had HR clearly communicated and provided written documentation of this 90-day timeline prior to offering me the contract, I would have proactively notified HR in August prior to the end of this timeline and collaboratively discussed options for a transfer to an ESS teaching position. Please know I do not dispute the reassignment due to the certification requirements. However, my suspension was excessive as well as professionally and emotionally harmful. I respectfully request that HR and members of the cabinet leadership review the hiring and onboarding processes, implement clear written expectations, and initiate proactive policies to ensure that no other employee is put into this situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker will be Marty Bailey.
Tonight, you're being asked to make a potentially profound decision that will ultimately impact all stakeholders of the Sierra Vista Unified School District. Have you been presented with the financial impact and actual cost analysis and breakdown of how this closure will affect the district in its entirety? Based on the financial information that you have been provided, do you have the accurate numbers to make a financially responsible decision at this time? The closing of Bella Vista will bring $1.2 million, and Mrs. Romo has made an additional $1.2 million decrease within the district. The closure of Joyce Clark Middle School will only bring $480,000. The numbers do not add up to reach our shortfall. It was reported the other elementary schools will bring a higher financial gain than the $1.2 million of Bella Vista. Why is the district trying to close JCMS? This closure will have the least amount of financial impact and the most profound effect on the community and the district. Wouldn't a better choice be to close 2 or 3 more elementary schools, which would better help us reach the $5 million shortfall? You have recently asked the stakeholders to complete a survey to provide feedback for the decision as to the closure of Joyce Clark Middle School. Based on the results, the stakeholders have overwhelmingly expressed 57% in support of keeping Joyce Clark Middle School open. When the district knew the results of this survey, why did they not come back with a plan like the plan they came up with the K-8 schools to reflect the desires of our community? Instead, they continued on the closed JCMS K-8 model for elementary schools. Why was a rubric completed on the facilities and not on the qualities, the values, when the qualities parents value in enrolling their children in school, such as academic performance, safety, extracurricular activities, and all those characteristics that develop a well-rounded student? If you want the students of the district to be competitive and excel in high school, closing JCMS will affect their ability to thrive in distinguished academic programs, athletics, scholarship earning, and in the fine arts. I believe at this time, the closing of Joyce Clark Middle School must be reconsidered or tabled to ensure that you have the full cost analysis and breakdown needed to make a responsible decision. Have you been given a logistical plan on how it will work with the 8th graders at the middle school and how much that will cost the district? Tough decisions are never easy, and you will not please everyone. However, decisions must be made that are in the best interest of our students and our district and our community. Leaving Joyce Clark Middle School open and closing 2 additional elementary schools would reach a minimum of $4 million and would be less of a logistical disruption. When you are elected by the community, they entrust you to make decisions that are in the best interest of their child. Please make a financially responsible decision. Thank you.
The next speaker is Allison Velez.
Hello everyone, and good evening members of the governing school board. My name is Allison Velez, and I'm a 6th grader at Carmichael Elementary School, and I'm in the student council serving as secretary. I am here tonight to present why Carmichael Elementary School should stay open. As you all know, not too long ago, our school went from a D-rated school to an A-rated school on state accountability reports. Our school has also received prestigious honors, including being named Arizona's Distinguished Title I School. Along with that, Carmichael has had many teachers win Teacher of the Year over and over again, like Miss Kimball, Miss Mathias, and so much more. We have great teachers and an amazing principal and vice principal. Miss Jimenez is a great leader, principal, and role model for our district, along with Mr. Starhoops. Carmichael is not only the oldest school in the district, but it is also a historical site. I would like to bring up the fact that Carmichael back in 1956 was a kindergarten through 8th grade school. Carmichael and Bella Vista are also the only schools on the west side of town, so where would the kids like my little brothers go to school? I also believe that Carmichael is way more than just a school. It is a place that we've learned to read, write, do math, and so much more. At Carmichael, we have learned to be leaders and help others. We've also learned to participate in a healthy social setting. We've made so many friends, memories, and learned to do our best all the time. This proves that Carmichael is like home away from home for not only students, but teachers and families as well. Closing down this amazing school would also send a message out to so many families and teachers that friends and education is not as important as the budget. It also sent a message that grades and attendance are not important enough to try and stay open for. I know that as of right now, Carmichael is a B-rated school, but getting from A to a D shows how much dedication and support we give to our school. And I also want to thank Ms. McCrory for standing with me every step of the way and being an amazing teacher and role model. Happy retirement. There is also the 3 greatest words: honesty, integrity, and accountability. It's time you start taking it, not only teaching it. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Our next speaker will be Matthias.
I'm so sorry. Oh, Allison. She was my student last year. Okay. This is good. This is good. Okay. Good evening, members of the board and everyone here in attendance. I'm coming to you not just as an educator or the teacher of the year, but as a parent, a lifetime community member, and a product of this district. I understand that our district is facing difficult enrollment challenges and financial burdens, but I urge you to not consider closing Carmichael Elementary, especially with what the board is considering. Unlike many schools in our district, Carmichael has remained stable. From May of last year to right now, it is the only school that has not only been steady, but has grown. We are nearly at 80% full based on classroom capacity. With that said, we are the district's highest needs school. We are a Title I campus with 100% free and reduced breakfast and lunch, holding one of the highest special education populations and having the highest population of English learners. Did you know that 75% of our school walks to school or a parent pickup? Our families rely on that. Closing Carmichael would place a major burden on families who may not be able to get their children across town. Not to mention, it does not guarantee that those students stay in our district, considering that there is a K-12 charter school just 1 mile away. Families in our area have already proven that convenience matters and that they would like to stay that way. If Carmichael closes, the district will lose even more students and even more funding. Now, we're more than just an elementary school. We have the Head Start program, the only on-campus Boys and Girls Club, and we were told we were getting preschool, and the parents were already told that as well. Closing the school now would disrupt essential services that many families depend on daily, removing not just stability, access, and the trusted community space. Students, families, and staff should not be asked to bear the greatest burden for problems they did not create. Any consolidation decision should prioritize minimizing harm to the communities that rely most heavily on the neighborhood school. I ask that before considering the closure of the district's first school that has been home for generations and generations, that the board fully consider the impact on transportation, student access, family support services, the charter competition, and the long-term effects on our community. Thank you for your time.
Our next speaker will be Calixta Bierman.
Good evening. I'm here to talk about why Carmichael should not be closing. I started Carmichael in kindergarten with Mrs. Kimball. I'm now in 6th grade with Mrs. Mathias. I've learned over the years that Carmichael is a fantastic school. It's where I've learned to make friends, be responsible, to do math, and to be unified as one with other students. Carmichael is the only school on the west end. There are many other schools on the other side of town, but this is our only public elementary. Without it, we can't walk to school. We can't visit our friends in our neighborhood. There will be no opportunity to walk to and from to school. Carmichael is a special place held high in our hearts. Many of us adore it. Carmichael should not be closed.
Our next speaker will be Christy Beard.
Okay, so I suck at public speaking. I have a couple of points that I want to make. First, Carmichael, I don't know if any of you notice how many Carmichael families and teachers. Sorry. I first moved to Arizona in 2011, and the first contact I had in this community was Miss Wambach and Carmichael students with my oldest. He's now 25. He struggled, and he's doing amazing in life because of skills that he learned at Carmichael, specifically with Ms. Wambach and in the community in general. Carmichael, obviously, there's going to be a fight on your hands if you try to close that one. Joyce Clark is our only middle school. I know there's a lot of issues with Joyce Clark, but there's some considerations I don't know if anyone has considered. I've worked in this community with families and children since I moved here. There are some special considerations for Joyce Clark, behavioral classes, behavioral programs that I'm not sure how those would seamlessly fit into our typical mainstream elementary classrooms. That scares me. Secondly, middle school is a place of transition, right? Transition is not always a bad thing. We take kids from elementary, they learn independence and how to become young adults in middle school. There are skills that they get in that age group. 13 and 14-year-olds should not be mixed with kindergartners. It just doesn't work. You can put them on a different side of the campus. There's still going to be crossover in behaviors. This is, I mean, in child development, you guys know in child development, these are massively different categories. I have a kid in middle school. I have one going to middle school. The other one's going to Buena. I would not want them in the same groups of kids. I want them to have those transitional periods. Buena, we have a huge bloated administration at Buena. I don't know if anyone realizes when my oldest was there, there were like numerous principals. Administration is a thing. We're saturated in elementary schools. Why don't we just have 3 elementary schools on different sides of towns? Keep Buena, keep Joyce Clark. I mean, it makes a lot more sense. I too looked at the numbers. It saves money, and it actually saves more money than closing Joyce Clark. I've been watching behavior, so I'm a clinician, and one of the things that I do is I observe people and their behaviors. There's some indifference and some smugness that I've been noting tonight that concerns me. I'm glad to see the community out here. I'm glad to see Miss Kimball. She's not here, but she's amazing. Miss Matthias, Miss McCrory. Oh, she's here, see? So, ladies and gentlemen, during COVID, when my Calixta was in kindergarten, Miss Kimball showed up from Carmichael just to put eyes on. It's so important. That's it. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Reina Portillo, a 6th grader at Carmichael Elementary School, also serving as Vice President in Student Council, and today I want to talk about why we should keep Carmichael Elementary School open. Carmichael isn't just a school, it's like a second home. For many of us, this is the first place where we learned how to read, made our first friends, and grew into who we are today. The teachers here don't just teach lessons, they care about us, support us, and make us feel safe every single day. When you walk into Carmichael, you feel welcomed. You feel like you belong. Closing a school like this doesn't just take away a building, it takes away a community. It takes away the place where students feel comfortable learning and being themselves. Not every school feels the same, and Carmichael is special because of the people in it. Also, it's important to understand that what's happening in the district's financial situation is not Carmichael's fault. The students, teachers, and staff here have worked hard every day, doing their best with what they have. We shouldn't lose our school because of decisions or problems that were out of our control. And we've already proven that what we can do. In the past, Carmichael was rated a D, but with hard work, determination, and teamwork, it improved all the way to an A. That shows this school is capable. That shows what this school is capable of. If we were given one more chance, we could do it again. We could rise, improve, and keep making our school something to be proud of. Carmichael has given so much to its students over the years, and it deserves to stay open so it can keep helping future students the same way it helped us. In conclusion, Carmichael Elementary is more than just a school. It's a second home, a safe place, and a community. And that's something worth fighting for. Thank you everyone for your time and consideration.
So I am Tracy Jones. I am a grandparent and a community member. I agree with a lot of things that were said about Carmichael. I understand, board, what a difficult decision you have to make, what a difficult decision this is. But I want to talk just a little bit about Carmichael. It was touched on before. I think we need to understand that Carmichael has a very different clientele, a very needy clientele. And it was mentioned about the number of people who don't have cars, who walk to school. And I have heard people say, well, if they get sent to another school, they will take the bus. They will have the bus that will take them there and bring them back. Yes, but that means that all of those students who currently walk to Carmichael will not be going back to their school at night for Title I reading nights, for talent shows, for fairs and carnivals. The parents are not going to be able to get there for PTA meetings. And it's extremely difficult if you don't have a car and your child is in school across town and they get sick. You have to walk to the bus stop, get on the bus, get off the bus, walk to the school, pick up the kid, come back. It's very, very complicated. And I think that our community recognizes this, which is why we have the Boys and Girls Club there. It's why we have the Head Start program there. It's why so many community organizations have events at Len Roberts Park. They have food giveaways there and household item giveaways. They sponsor all different kinds of craft activities and holiday activities because the people in the community recognize that Carmichael needs a little bit more help. And closing Carmichael and trying to send these kids somewhere else is just not in the best interest of our community. Thank you.
Our last speaker will be Terri Romo.
Good evening, members of the board. Thank you for your time and the work that you do to support our district and our community. My name is Carrie Ingold, and I have been an educator for 17 years. For the past 4 years, I've had the privilege of teaching kindergarten at Carmichael, a school that I am proud to call home. I care deeply for our families, our students, and our staff, and I'm here today because I'm concerned about the potential closing of our school. Carmichael Elementary is a place where our families have chosen to stay, even when Sierra Vista has had numerous opportunities become available. Our enrollment has remained steady, and I ask you to consider whether it is fair to close a school that has demonstrated consistency, while others in our district have unfortunately seen declining numbers. District enrollment has been declining for several years, and I urge you to closely examine our enrollment data from each school from 2019 through today. When you look at those numbers, what patterns stand out? Which schools have struggled to maintain enrollment, and which schools have remained steady? Which have had the lowest rate of decline? Now consider Carmichael. Has it demonstrated consistency in enrollment over the same time period? And if so, what does that suggest about our school community? It speaks of stability. It reflects the trust that the families place in our educators and in the quality of education that their children receive. And that raises an important question. If families choose Carmichael year after year, doesn't that indicate that our school is not only stable, but also a strong and valuable asset to our district? We are also the only SVUSD school serving the west side of Sierra Vista. Many of our students walk to school or rely on very short commutes. Closing Carmichael would create a real challenge for our families and may lead some to leave our district altogether for schools like Cass or Lehman Academy because of their close proximity. This could result in a lasting loss of students and community connection. Carmichael is more than just a school building. It is a trusted and stable place for our students and families. I urge you to consider the impact of this decision, not just the enrollment numbers, but on the community as a whole. Thank you for listening and your thoughtful consideration.
We'll move on to the next item on our agenda, and that would be our consent agenda.
I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
I do have some issues, personnel actions that's included there. In looking at what we're doing from a financial point of view, I would like to at least have a revisit with the district on the contracts that are included. And because of our current financial distress, I would certainly like to have that review. And for that reason, I will
comments at this time? So all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? So passes 4-0 with 1 abstention. All right, the next item on our agenda is going to be the possible closure of Joyce Clark Middle School. It is recommended that the board vote to approve the closure of Joyce Clark Middle School.
So the governing board and administration have met all legal requirements for considering the closure of a school. During the town hall, discussion was held regarding various concerns which were understood and addressed by administration and the board during the following work session. Administration recommends approval of the closure. Would you like to read the alternative as well?
No. I guess in this rare situation, I will make a motion that we vote to close Joyce Clark Middle School.
For the purposes of discussion, I will second this motion, and I just have to be real clear to navigate this to get to a successful conclusion.
All right, so we have a motion and a second on the floor to close Joyce Clark Middle School. Is there any discussion or comments at this time?
Yes, I am not in favor of closing Joyce Clark Middle School. I feel like it is a transitional school, and as a retired school nurse of 20 years in the district, I have seen the difficulty that people make from that, because I was the elementary nurse. I taught the country for 13 years and then 7 years at the high school. In my opinion, that is critical to have that transition time. I'm very strong about that. I'd like you to take that into consideration.
I would like to ask Ms. Romo a couple of questions. Is there any other middle school in Sierra Vista?
Be a separate, like 6th through 8th grade. You know, there's one at Fort Huachuca, but not in 6th.
So for all the other schools, they're either K or K-12?
Yes, sir.
And that's our competition that we're dealing with. The reason that we're looking at Joyce Clark was one, because of the lack of students.
So yes, building utilization is one of our larger facilities. So, and all of our schools are 50% or under, as I've shared in several other meetings. I've shared with you, I understand the love of Joyce Clark. I attended there when I was Sierra Vista Middle School. But one of the things that has been very clear over the last few years is that when our families get to 6th grade, and it can be for multiple reasons, not necessarily even just Joyce Clark, but the fact that we start recommending that they start later than other schools, so parents have multiple drop-offs. So, but around 60 kids each year choose to leave the district because we don't have an option that they are looking for.
And if we do not close it, then we'll be forced to close 3 elementaries.
We would be looking at, yes, if you don't do that one, then we probably need to look at 3.
So for me, number one, it would be when Ms. Romo talked about where we are at as a district being in high financial risk. We're one of 9 school districts in the state that are facing that right now. And I'll share with you a little bit about kind of what I've really studied and looked at this situation been shared, but this has been over a decade of a problem. And the administration and the finance office, especially over the last 5 years, have moved money around to keep all of these schools and to be able to pay our staff. We have strategically moved people and put them under different pots of money to pay them because we didn't have the money in M&O to pay all of our staff. So we had to get creative. Well, unfortunately, you can only do that basically once because then those pots of money are depleted and they're not like M&O where you get a new budget every year. And so if kind of looking at this in a different way, we have been able to keep all of our schools open probably for an additional 5 years. But that has put us in a position where we have to make multiple school closures to get, not only get off of that financial risk situation with the state, but we really have to do that to stay out of receivership. If we don't do anything, the state comes in and they assess our situation and they decide to close schools for us. And none of us have made this decision easily or come to it. I know I've struggled listening to people, and one day I take the information and I'm like, no, let's not close the middle school. And then the next day I get more information and I'm like, we really have to close the middle school. And it's not just about closing the middle school. It is about the whole vision, which Ms. Wambach showed us, of getting to the point where we can actually pay our teachers quality salaries and be able to recruit instead of having such a hard time with other districts and losing staff because they pay more than other district. And so one of the terms that's been used is to right size, and we've really been putting it off too long. But for the sake of the community, we've been able to keep these schools open, but we just can't do that at this point. So that's kind of where
I'll throw one more comment. I've been in Sierra Vista for some 30 years, and I've learned something about our community. We are not forgiving. When a restaurant serves bad meals, within 6 months you're out of business, because we are long-term memory people, and we pass that on. Unfortunately, Joyce Clark had some issues several years ago, and our community remembers that. And so we're seeing kids come up to the 6th grade, going to 7th, and they're being pulled out of our schools and moved to the charter schools because we have a bad taste in our mouth for middle school. People don't want to admit that, but that's kind of the reality. Unfortunately, if I've got kids going to the middle school and I don't send them there, guess what? I'm going to take my other kids out and put them in the same school so that their vacation schedules are all the same. So that's what we're seeing with Joyce Clark. We've got the smallest population. The reason it's not bringing the most money back into the system when we close it is because there's not as many people, there's not as many children in the middle school. So yes, we can try to save it, but then the community's got to promise they're going to send their kids there. So we have that as a problem.
It's your curriculum's problem. That's why the charter schools.
at this time, I'll have to stop you, sir, that this is kind of the board's discussion. The public comments were the time to have the discussion.
As a board member, I know that my physical responsibility, that we have to find $5 million and close some schools. And to be honest, this is a very difficult decision that has weighed on me a lot as an educator, as a school counselor. I know middle school is definitely a critical time for our students, both academically, socially, and emotionally. So I think that we can look at the positive side of things. And, if we keep Joyce Clark open, we can create some better opportunities for our students with the funds for selling this building. I've heard at one point during a discussion for my 6 years on the board, creating the Fine Arts Academy. So there's some ideas out there that we can use Joyce Clark as, just make it a better school. And that can attract more people to our district.
So as you can see, there's a lot of issues and concerns that we have. However, the district has got to get that $5.5 million ready and in the budget by the end of June. So we've got between now and the end of June to make decisions that will affect all of our schools.
This is my turn. Really struggled with this. So you know everyone has. And I do want to acknowledge all the emails, texts, phone calls. I haven't been great about responding to everything, but I read every word, considered everything. And then related, one of them was Romo in the first half. Because in turn, I've gone to her, I'm helping her with questions and concerns and ideas. We're having a lot of difficult conversations in public and in private. I've been on the board a long time and I've dealt with some really difficult things. It's just the hardest so far. There's a lot I wish we could go back and do differently. But whatever we decide to do, there's going to be massive consequences. And I've always said, we just have to keep moving forward. And I've also learned it doesn't always look how I want it to look, how some people want it to look. But we have to make those decisions regardless. So we have to pull together and make the best of it. I'd say it's been hard for me because, prior administration looked at this puzzle with no right or clear solution and put forth their vision and their recommendation to kind of get us out of the financial situation. And then, you came and you looked at the same puzzle and the same pieces and you're putting forward a different vision. I guess the biggest question I have for you is, we know there's still a lot of uncertainty and unknowns, and we're trying to piece this together. We know that there's numbers tied to every school closure. Knowing everything you know on the operational side and of course the academic side, we know that no matter what we decide, something's going to be lost here. Do you, whatever we do, we need to do it well, and is this what you truly believe, despite the heartache and maybe the finances, and by making this decision that has a smaller financial impact, then means we have other bigger decisions, you know what I mean? Is this what you think we could be the best at?
That's a loaded question. Because in my ideal world, all of our schools would be open, and they would be thriving, and families would be choosing our schools. What I recommended to you is what, through lots of research, lots of talking to lots of educational leaders from all over, not just within Arizona, but outside. We don't have any good choices. I mean, I went and talked to another elementary school today, Village Meadows, to tell them that they would be the next school that I recommend for closure. And I haven't cried yet. Today was the first time I cried. Not because I didn't care, and you would think it would get easier, but it's not. I inherited something that's not sustainable. And what really resonates with me is something Mr. Lee said, which is having the state come in and take us over. Because these are the darkest days of my 30-year career. And I've dedicated my career to Cochise County, majority of it here. I was a student here. I dedicated my life to public education. We have to do something very major to get us through this. And sometimes you have to dismantle. And I'm just going to say it because it's on my heart. Sometimes God has you behind your back so you look up. I'm really struggling with any of these decisions. But I would not be doing what's in the best interest of this district to have us go into this and then we have to be firing people in the middle of the year next year because we cannot be out of budget. We tried as a district last year, our superintendent, to get an override passed, and it failed miserably. We don't have that. There's several other schools around us who that's what they're going to try to do to try to get themselves out of it. Our days of hoping that we can fix this are done. The reality is here. We are at the edge of the cliff, and we have been hearing that. The fact that we have declining enrollment, everybody's been talking about it for years. I know Ms. Waldout and I were talking today when she went with me to Village Meadows. She said, I've been talking to the staff at Village Meadows for years about if we don't get our enrollment up. So that part's not new, but some of the choices financially that were being made, I did not recognize until I was sitting in the seat. It is my responsibility and duty to you, and what I agreed to when I signed my name on that contract was to bring you, to the best of my ability, the right choices. Joyce Clark is not the choice, it's one of many choices that are decisions that are to come. So, ideal world, we would have it all, and maybe one day again we can. Right now we can't. We have to live within our means. I'd love to go to Paris next week. My budget doesn't allow it. We would like to have all of our schools. Our budget does not allow it. And again, we go before the state again. I had to go and testify in front of state legislatures, something I never thought I'd be doing within my career, and explain the things and the commitments that we were going to make. Because what happens to you as a governing board is the decisions totally are out of your hands, totally out of my hands. Somebody who does not know a single person in this community is going to come in and just look at the numbers and they're going to make cuts. As hard as it is, and like I said, worst days of my life, professionally and even personally, my husband would like to have his happy wife back. But right now, I got to take care of this district, and that's what I truly feel led to do. And so it's hard, and it's going to make people unhappy, and I understand that, and I respect it. We're going to go through all the emotions of grief. But like you're sitting here in this room right now that was once lively with children. Right? Some of us, I remember those days. But we've been on. My Buena High School is a gas station and a car lot. But I'm still in that. So I know that there's lots of unknowns. Lots of things are really hard. I know I emailed with one of the House of Public tonight. And I said it's really hard because until we have actual final numbers, when school gets, there's going to be a lot of moving parts. So I do believe that I've given you the best recommendation that I possibly can. And but I also trust and respect that you're going to make the best decision that you can as volunteers. You get paid nothing. I saw some comments where you guys are getting paid too much. You get nothing for doing this. right now. I wish that this had been dealt with. I think it was really hidden by federal funds that we had for those years. And it masked the problem that as soon as those federal funds were gone, reality set in, and those cuts should have been started then.
I will just say that, this isn't, I believe in middle school. It was great for my kids. I wish, I understand it's going to be difficult too. But I guess I'm in that place too where we have to just reimagine things and move forward. And, we're often in this position where we do have to, work with our administration and your guys' expertise on crafting the path forward, centered around, of course, fiscal responsibility, but also that student achievement piece. I see a disconnect between people who work at the middle school level or have worked or have sent their kids there versus, the people who haven't. And when we talk about the survey results, which again is just one data point and many, many data points. What people think after the fact versus going in, and we unfortunately live in a school choice environment now. We have to look at what people are choosing. And I've also spent a lot of time talking to people who believe in the K-8 model and believe it can be successful. Again, it's not necessarily what I would want to choose, but we have to do something and we have to move forward, and I think we have to go where the enthusiasm is and where the people are telling us they want to go. Just for that time.
For all of you, we board members are elected by you to represent you. And I don't think there's a board member here who has not done their own diligent search, just try to come up with options that we could throw out to the district and to the community. But I really believe, honestly, that the district has done everything that they possibly can do to come up with the best solution for our community at this time. Does not mean that at some time in the future, we would not be able to open it again if we were to get more students coming in. I think we're at that point, and like I said, Ms. Romo's got to come up with a $5.5 million deficit fixture by the end of June. That gives her just a couple of months to decide on, if we don't do this, what elementary schools are going to have to be closed. And we've got 2 months to do that. Any comment?
And I just want to take ownership over the request to close even more schools. That was me, that was my request. Like I said, if I could go back and do it again, I would have done more earlier. And so I hope we, moving forward, we're a lot more careful about that in our timing of the building closures in particular. Having that piece of the picture of like, if we truly right size, like just what does that look like? I'm not saying it's the way we need to go, but like having that picture in my mind helps me with the steps between now and getting there. So I just think it's important that moving forward, we always keep that in mind. It helps inform our decisions, obviously.
Well, I'm going to make a comment because I'm struggling with this, what's happened. Partly because I want to see not only the logical mind part of this decision, which would be do things and so forth. I say this from a personal standpoint because years ago I lost a daughter in an accident 6 months after she graduated from high school. There was a closure, and I had a younger daughter that was a sophomore when actually she was going into her junior year, and a son that was going into his freshman year. I'm saying this because all of a sudden we were faced with, we might call it a closure. We'll never see this child again. And we had to deal with those feelings. We had a service here. We went back east where we're from and had another service. We came back here. And the principal of the high school called my husband and I and said, would you consider a memorial service for your daughter? I mean, we thought we'd go through a lot, but we had to get past us and recognize that there was a need for a closure. There were too many people hurting that knew our daughter. She was very involved with her school. And a lot of people were hurting. Her younger sister had friends, of course, up there that were all sharing, how are you doing? And the other part of the coin was my son bottomed out. He just lost it totally. And we went through another traumatic, I mean, he's alive and well now, he's doing great, but we went through a very difficult time. Okay, I'm only saying this from a personal standpoint because when you have a closure or a finality of anything, there's ramifications of that. There's people that are going to be affected in ways you never thought of. And so, for me, because the hardest age in our family dynamics was my son, who was then 13. And to see the response of all the family, they were all different. We all had to go forward, as we were talking about earlier. But we had to deal with the reality of the situation. And it wasn't easy. And I kind of feel like that going through this process again. I'm renewing my feelings again of what it's like to have a loss. And nobody wants it. But we have to find something good that comes out of it. And my saving grace, if I can say it that way, is, for me, the middle school is an answer to having an opportunity to one-on-one with teachers or students that are hurting. There's so many things they're going through, identity crisis and who they are. They're going through, I'm a nurse, so they're going through the puberty stage. There's so many things that are happening hormonally that are affecting them. These things happen, as we know, we're humans. And they're going to affect what happens. So it's hard for me to think, the reality is we need the money. But my heart says, I want to see kids that have the ability to go on because they've dealt with the crisis and they know somebody cares and somebody's there for them. And there's a rapport that can be established between student and student because when they're hurting, they'll talk about it. I saw it at the high school. I was there when we had a cardiac arrest and a child died. I've seen drug overdoses. I've seen diabetic homies. I've been through a lot as a nurse in this system. And these things, when you see something die, a child die, you're never the same. It impacts you. So I'm going through some difficulty here with my heart says these kids in middle school need special support now. My mind logically says we need the money. So it's a battle for me between the two. But from a nursing standpoint, I can't help but run with my heart.
know, because I had issues. And I will say I have looked at the numbers, looked at as far as the information, what costs we have per what school. Definitely, you know, it's not a sound decision if you don't have that information before you. And kind of what came to me too is with the students we have enrolled right now, if we were starting this master plan all over and we didn't have any schools, what would that look like? And we wouldn't build, you know, 8 schools for the number of students we have. We would probably build 4. And that would be the responsible thing to do. Of course, everybody would be, you know, petitioning to get a school in their neighborhood because, you know, it would be convenient and it would help them. But at the end of the day, you know, it's wherever you can get property and where you're able to build. So that kind of plays in my head as far as the number of schools we have. None of us, we know ultimately this decision lies with us, and us not making it does not move us in the direction we need to go to be fiscally responsible. And in being fiscally responsible, I do want to comment something because the $5 million has been thrown around, and some people mistake that as far as like we have a $5 million debt sitting out there, and that's not the case. We have a projected loss of students, which means our budget will be $5 million less. So our $5 million shortfall is not because we were irresponsible in what we spent and we paid too much to administration, and now we have this debt that somebody's going to come collect. It means in our projection of students, the state is going to give us $5 million less. And if we're not within that budget, then they are going to come down and do what needs done, whether we want it done or not, whether we disagree with it at that time. The board will not be able to vote. The board will not have a decision in any of this. We will get to sit back and observe, and that is it. So that's kind of where we're at. I guess a commitment for me being on the board in this situation, one thing that has really stuck out to me, if we are going to move forward with this, and Joyce Clark closes, is the commitment to make sure we support those 7th and 8th graders in those elementary schools, to make sure we have the staff, the counselors, and the systems in place to make sure we're supporting them and we're giving them the best we can of that middle school experience, of that separate in the facility and the resources and the activities that we can provide. I guess at this time, I'll ask if there's any other comments, discussion, question, that anybody has. I guess not hearing any, I will ask for a roll call vote. So we have the motion to close Joyce Clark with a second. So I'll start with the roll call, and I'll go ahead and start with Mrs. Buffett. How do you vote? No. Okay. And Mr. Conroy?
I vote yes.
Mrs. Sherry?
Aye.
And Ms. Robinson?
Nay.
And I will vote aye. That passes.
Wrong decision.
3-2. All right, next item on our agenda will be policy.
What was the vote, 4-1?
First reading. It is recommended that the governing board consider on first reading the following policy modifications recommended by the district administration. GCD, professional staff contracts and compensation, and GECE, support staff personal
This policy has been modified to better reflect the practices of the district administration recommended approval.
The vote is 3-2, in case you missed it. Joyce Clark Middle School will be officially closing. 3-2, the vote. Joyce Clark Middle School will be closing. Up next on the agenda will be town halls on the closure of one more elementary school in the Sierra Vista School District. There will be one more closure to go. They have to decide now, with some town halls in the area, which elementary school will be closed. And that is it for us tonight, here from the school board.
Community College District within the Sierra Vista Unified School